Constantine number 6, written by Ray Fox, art by Renato Guedes. So last issue was a tie-in to Trinity War, and long story short, Constantine is bleeding out and is like about to die. And his ghost is currently floating above his body and meets up with the ghost of Chris, the guy who he let die in issue 1. So we see that Constantine is bleeding out. His friend Lloyd, who runs the bar he's in, is making a call to Zatanna because Constantine said, "Hey, if I'm ever in real trouble, call Zatanna, not 911." And so he's doing so, but Zatanna's not picking up. So we see above the body, Chris is trying to attack Constantine, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, you let me die, and now I'm going to have my revenge. I'm going to get you. Just gonna sever that cord that's connecting you to your body." And Constantine's like, "Yeah, that's not what's gonna happen. Also, you don't understand anything about fighting in like the incorporeal sense. It's not about strength. It's not about throwing a punch. It's about willpower." And so Constantine just wills that he blasts back Chris and he knocks him on his ass. And then Chris gets up and he's like, "Oh no, you're not stronger than me. I've been making deals here in the afterlife." And he sprouts like these giant spider legs from his back. And Constantine's like, "Oh, you idiot." So then we cut to Switzerland, where there's a man with a sword in front of a cult, and it's the Temple of the Cold Flame, and he's saying this whole incantation about like angels and stuff like that. And he's wearing a blindfold. He's unable to see this whole time. I feel like we may have met this guy before, or at least seen him, but he's not springing to mind. So at this point, we see that in the back of the room, Sargon and Mr. E are standing there, and they interrupt his little cult thing, and he's just like, "All right, what do you guys want?" And they basically say, "Constantine is about to die, and we need your help to make it so that he doesn't right now." And it's like, "Why would you want him to live?" And they explain that, they need to claim his soul. If it moves on without, then that's it. They lose their chance. So this guy, whose name is Tanarak, he takes 2 of his followers. He calls them up, chops off their heads, and they shatter like porcelain. And from inside their bodies come 2 black soul-looking things. And he's like, "All right, I'm sending them and a couple of my other goons to go take care of Constantine. They'll be fine." So sends them off. We see the goons enter into the bar, and Lloyd just immediately opens up with shotgun blasts on him. And he's badass. He's really going for it. So in the ethereal realm, we see Chris is fighting against Constantine. And Constantine's trying to talk him down. He's like, "Hey, you're not thinking straight. Your anger's getting the best of you. It's twisting up your spirit. You got to let this go." And Chris is like, "No, this is it. I'm taking you out. How dare you? You let me die." And he's like, "Dude, you were channeling an unreal amount of power. And I already did the math. You would have been dead in like 6 months tops. So I was just letting you die without going through the incredible pain you were going to go through later. Also, I got something out of it. So it's a win-win for everybody." But at that point, the 2 black souls show up. They grab Chris, and Constantine's like, "What? What's going on?" So then we cut to Tanarak, who's like flying over top of the city, and he's looking around for Constantine's like soul trail and trying to see where that is, and he sees this whole map across the city. So Chris is being taken by the black souls, and Constantine's like, "Chris, just calm down. They're only coming after you because you're angry. It's you got to just let it go." And he's unable to do anything as the soul takes him. And the other black soul stares at Constantine, and Constantine's like, "All right, well, I don't even care about you. You're like nothing to me." So he just tells him to piss off, and he leaves. So at that point, he looks down and he sees Lloyd still beating up all the guys coming in. He's just like, "Wow, that's pretty incredible, Lloyd. You're doing a great job there." So at that point, Papa Midnight comes in, takes out the rest of the guys, and looks down at Constantine's body. And he's like, "Okay, yeah, I can help him, but why should I?" And Lloyd's like, "Come on, man, just do it." And Constantine's standing above like, "All right, Papa Midnight, time for you to do a pros and cons list. Figure out if I'm worth saving." So we cut back to Tanarak, who's managed to track down where Constantine's like home base is underneath the pet store. He cuts his way in with the sword, And the woman inside is like, oh, I'm calling the police. You can't be in here. And we just hear a thud, implying that woman is no more. So Papa Midnight finally does come, and he listens, and he says, yeah, okay, I'm going to save Constantine. He tells Lloyd to lead, though, because it's apparently a gruesome sight. So he uses his magic, and he does this whole big blood thing. I mean, he says here, there's a cracking sound from everywhere. His chants are answered by a voice from everywhere. And then all of a sudden, his blood rips through his heart. His lungs draw their breath. He screams and he can't stop screaming. And finally, he is seemingly brought back to life, but we don't actually see it happen. And the final page is Tanarak has made his way into the room where Constantine keeps all of his magical doodads and knickknacks. And he's like, all right, cool. Everything Constantine took from us, it's mine now, bitches. So yeah, that's transitionary point. I mean, I'm interested in it. I do think that it's a good it's okay. What's the best way to say this? The tie-in to Trinity War could have just been its own thing. It could have been completely separate and not really impact the plot of Constantine all that much, especially with how episodic Constantine's plot has been. I appreciate the fact that they are allowing this to impact. Like, he bled out, and it is changing the status quo of now, like, he owes Papa Midnight, and the villains have all of his stuff, and people have died because of him. And, like, Constantine notes the fact of, like, it's weird that Papa Midnight cared enough to tell Lloyd to get out of there. Maybe Papa Midnight has plans for him. It's weird that the Black Souls came after Chris, because obviously they were meant to come after Constantine. So it's setting up a lot of threads here that feel like they're going to be pushing the story forward more as it goes on. I feel like the first arc of this was more so just testing, hey, is this book going to survive more than 6 issues? Like, are we actually going to be able to do a larger story here? And now that they've seen that, I guess the numbers are there, they're pushing forward. So I'm super into it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to give this one... I'll give this one like a... I'll give it a 7.5. It doesn't quite strike that 8 for me. It's held back a little bit, mainly because it's setting up a bunch of mysteries without actually doing any major pushing forward of other things. It feels more like a setup issue than it does a conclusion sort of issue. But I still enjoyed it regardless, just for the promise that it brings. So 7.5 for this. Looking forward to the rest.